ለመማር ወደ ትምህርት ተቋም መሄድ ግድ አይደለም። ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ
ራሳችሁን ከኮሮና ቫይረስ ወረርሽኝ እየጠበቃችሁ በቤታችሁ ወይም በተመቻችሁ ቦታ በኢንተርኔት አማካኝነት በኦንላይን ትምህርታችሁን መከታተል ትችላላችሁ።
ካናዳ ከሚገኘው ኢንተርናሽናል ኤር ትራንስፖርት አሶሲዬሽን አያታና ከእንግሊዙ ኢንስቲትዩት ኦፍ ኮመርሻል ማኔጅመንት ICM ጋር በመተባበር የሚሰጡ ትምህርቶችን ተከታትላችሁ በ6 ወር ጊዜ በዓለም አቀፍ ደረጃ ተቀባይነት ያለውን የስልጠና ማስረጃ ባለቤት መሆን ይቻላል።
ልምድ ባላቸው መምህራን እየተማራችሁ ጥያቄና መልስ የክፍል ስራዎች ፈተና መፈተን ክፍል ውስጥ እንዳላችሁት አይነት በኦንላይን ባላችሁበት ቦታ ከናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ
የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ
Last time we have been discussed the relationship between creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So do you have any question with regard to innovation and creativity? Any question? So anyways, let's proceed to the highlights of these three terminologies. So so far we have been discuss what's creativity, what's innovation, and entrepreneurship. I hope creativity is simply the process of bringing something new, the process, whereas innovation is the process of transforming this new idea into applicable product or service or process. So the combination of these three things, innovation and creativity would become entrepreneurship. So we have been discuss the process of innovation, creativity. It has 5 steps. Whenever you create something new or whenever you modify the existing idea. So apart from the process, there are different factors that block creativity. So these factors may be searching for one right answer, since creativity is the process of looking things in a different way than others look into. So in this case, searching for one right answer is one of the possibility to block our creativity. There are also different factors like being or believing I'm not creative. If you believe you are not creative, so this is the most prominent factor that blocks our creativity. If you believe yourself, so you are not more creative. So in this case, so to avoid these blocks or factors, so the first thing is we have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe. So one of the characteristics of an entrepreneur is self-confidence. Self-confidence indicates belief in yourself. Believe you can do whatever you want to do. So this is some of the factors. You have to recognize these factors may block your creativity. So to avoid these blocks, so we can believe in ourselves. We can practice like playing with some creative way, or sometimes you have to avoid the fear of others. Sometimes others may judge someone when he starts to playing like in a creative way. So in this case, avoid looking fully, or avoid the fear of others. Avoiding ambiguity is one of the factors that blocks our creativity. So in this case, you don't need to avoid ambiguity, because ambiguity is the source of creativity. So this is some of the factors that block our creativity. And let's proceed to, innovation. Since innovation is the heart of entrepreneurial process, which means, through innovation, you can exploit opportunities. So we'll discuss how can we exploit opportunities. What's an opportunity? Opportunity, simply favorable circumstances to develop new idea, favorable circumstances. So in this case, innovation is the heart of entrepreneurial process, which means, it's a means to exploit opportunities. So innovation is the implementation of new ideas, implementation. So the implementation, or simply this innovation, has different distinct types, which means there are 4 types of innovation, 4 types. The first one is invention. Invention, simply creating something new, or creating or the creation of a new product or service, or it can be a process. So this is invention. So a little bit modification of existing product is known as extension, or expansion of existing product or service or process could be innovation. What type of innovation? It could be extension or expansion innovation. So you can expand existing products through different features or different design. The other types of innovation is duplication. Sometimes entrepreneur may duplicate existing product or service through a means of replication. Duplication defined as replication of already existing products. Yes? ከውጭ በኩል የሚያልፍ መኪና ነው እንግዲህ እስካልፍ ትንሽ መታገስ ይኖርብናል። Just wait a minute. Sorry for the inconvenience. So the third type of innovation is a replication of already existing products or services. Sometimes a product or a process may be invented somewhere else, and entrepreneurs bring that product or service or process to their country and replicate or duplicate this type of product or service. Duplication of service or replication of product could be innovation. What type of innovation? Simply duplication innovation. This is a kind of innovation. So the last type of innovation is synthesis. Synthesis means simply combining existing concepts with different factors and form a new product or a new service. So in this case, there is little similarity between extension and synthesis. But the major difference between this innovation is, the synthesis use existing concepts and factors and formulate a new product or a new service or a new process. Whereas extension types of innovation is modifying the existing product as this by simply introducing new features. So this is some of the types of innovation. So and there are also different writers that define types of innovation in a different way. But this is commonly used, types of innovation, types of innovation. So innovation is the transformation of new ideas or existing ideas into a usable product or service. So we can pass through this four process. The first process in innovation is analytical planning. Simply a careful identification of the product with the required resources. This is analytical planning. Carefully identifying the product, the service, and with the appropriate design as well as the required resources to materialize this product or this idea. And the second stage of innovation process would be obtaining the required resources, materials, and technology, as well as human resources. So this is the second stage in innovation process. Since innovation is the process of doing something new, so first we have to identify what we are going to do, which is we have to identify the product and the service with its features and design. Once we identify the required product with the necessary design, we have to obtain the resources. We have to identify material resource, financial resource, human resource, and the technological resource. Once we identify these resources, the next would be implementation, which means applying this process, applying the resource in order to accomplish the plan. The application or the implementation stage is important in developing the prototype product. So once we develop the product or the service, the next would be commercialization or commercial application of the product. The product should be produced with the provision of values to their customer, to the customers, rewarding employees and satisfying the stakeholders. There are a number of stakeholders like suppliers, government, and other stakeholders. In this case, so would you mute your mic? So this is some of the innovation process. So since innovation is the process of doing something new, so there are different areas on which this innovation will be applicable. So some of the areas of innovation is you can innovate a product or a service or a process, or sometimes you may innovate ways of doing something or the techniques. This is some of the areas of innovation. So areas of innovation is on which area we are going to create something new.
በትምህርት ከፍ ብሎ መብረር ይቻላል። ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ከከፍተኛ ትምህርት አግባብነትና ጥራት ኤጀንሲ ሙሉ ዕውቅናን ባገኘንባቸው በማስተርስ ዲግሪ ኤምቢኤ በስትራቴጂክ ማኔጅመንት፣ ኤምቢኤ በባንኪንግ እና ፋይናንስ፣ ኤምቢኤ በቢዝነስ ሊደርሺፕ፣ ኤምቢኤ በሪስክና ኢንሹራንስ፣ ኤምኤስሲ በኢንተርናሽናል ትሬድና ኢኮኖሚክስ ዘርፎች በእውቀት ለመቅረጽ የበቁ ፕሮፌሰሮቻችን አረንጓዴ መብራታቸውን አብርተዋል። በነገራችን ላይ በኬንያ ሀገር ከሚገኙ ስመጥር ዩኒቨርሲቲዎች በሚመጡ ፕሮፌሰሮች የትኩረት መስክ ትምህርቶቹ መሰጠታቸው ልዩ ያደርገናል። በምርጥ የትምህርት ስርዓት የተገነባው ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ በመጀመሪያ ዲግሪ በአቪዬሽን ማኔጅመንት፣ በሆቴል ማኔጅመንት፣ በአካውንቲንግና ፋይናንስ፣ በማርኬቲንግ ማኔጅመንት አስተማማኝ ትምህርት ይገቢውና ራስዎንና ሀገሮን ይለውጡ። አድራሻ 22 አደባባይ ወደ ሾላ በሚወስደው መንገድ ላይ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ህልሞን እውን ያደርጋል።
So we can create new product. So this is one of the area on which innovation will be applicable. We can also create new product, new service. This is one area. So we can also create a process, the process of doing something, or we can create also a technique, the ways of delivering the product or the service. So you can consider this online delivery of educational service is a kind of innovation you can take. So actually, we have been, in educational sector for the last several years. So the mode of delivery for educational service were face-to-face. So because of the pandemic problem of the world, different entrepreneurs introduce different mode of delivery of their service. So one of the mode of delivery is online teaching and learning process. So this is a kind of technology or a kind of innovation. So in this case, innovation can be introducing new ways of delivering a service or a product. The other would be a new ways of or a new operating practice. Sometimes the production system now in our country may be a little bit different from 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So in this case, new ways of operating or operating the practice can be innovation, or a new means of informing the customers about the products. Previously, marketers used a face-to-face marketing strategy. Nowadays, they are using different mix of communication like viral technologies or buzz marketing, introducing their product through online. So this is a means of informing your customer about your product is a kind of innovation. So a new means of managing the relationship within the organization. So within one organization, there are different means of communication channels. So most of the time, in previous time, we used paper technology. Nowadays, we can use Telegram, Memo, and so on. So in this case, a new means of managing the relationship within one organization. And there are relationships among or between different organizations. This means of relationship would be innovation. We can interact with other organizations through online technology, through website and so on. Creating website or creating, a new ways of communication between organizations would be innovation. So this is some of the areas on which innovation can be practiced, or this is the areas on which innovation can be introduced. So the other would be the relationship between these three terminologies: creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So as we have seen last time, creativity is the ability to develop new ideas, the ability to create new ideas. and discover new ways of looking at problem and opportunities. Sometimes entrepreneurs, because of their creativity, so they can discover new ways of looking at problems and opportunities. So innovation is the ability to apply creative solution to these problems and opportunities in order to enhance the people's life or enrich societies. So the combination of creativity and innovation would become entrepreneurship. So without creativity and innovation, there will not be entrepreneurship. So creativity and innovation is the roots of entrepreneurship. So this is the relationship. So creativity is the source of innovation. Innovation is the source of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is the process of creating values in the market. And entrepreneurship creates value in the market and increase the country's development. The country's development is measured in terms of GDP or per capita. Any question before we proceed to the second chapter of the course, which is a little bit large and vast chapter of the course. Any question? With regard to the first chapter of the course, before we proceed to the second chapter.
Charles, innovation. ትንሽ ሪቫይስ ታደርግልኝ? Innovation.
ምን ላድርግሽ?
ትንሽ ሪቫይስ ታደርግልኝ? ምክንያቱም ድምፁ እየተቆራረጠ ነው።
Okay. Innovation is simply the process of transforming new ideas into usable products and services. So,
hello, teacher.
Yes.
What's the creativity?
Okay. Wait a minute. I just responded to the first question. Okay. Since innovation is the process of transforming new ideas into a usable product or service, or it could be a process. So innovation is transformation of new ideas into application. And there are different areas of innovation. So these areas of innovation is you can create new products, new process, new ways of doing something, which is a process, or new ways of communication. This is a kind of innovation. Innovation means simply new ideas. This new idea is usable in the form of innovation. So there are 4 types of innovation. 1, invention. You may come up with new idea for the first time. This idea is invention. If you come up with new ideas for the first time, this type of innovation could be invention. If you modify existing products, so that could be extension. There are also duplication types of innovation. So you can take a product or a service or a process somewhere else and implement in your country and produce in large amounts without changing any feature. So that could be duplication. Maybe synthesis types of innovation is a kind of innovation that combines existing concepts and factors and form a new forms of products. So this is a little bit it's an explanation for the first question. And the other question is, what's creativity? Simply, creativity is bringing a new idea for the first time, or discovering a new way of looking problems. So this is some of the answer for your question.
Mister,
Yes.
areas of innovation ላይ አልገባኝም። if new means of informing the customers about the product.
So that's a means of communication. So you can inform your customers through different means of advertisement or through means of communication. So you can talk to your customers to convince about your product, face-to-face communication. Nowadays, you can use different technologies or different innovation. So you can inform your customers about your product through website, buzz marketing. Simply, buzz marketing is a kind of viral technology using internet to introduce your product. So this is a kind of communication. So you can create new means of communication. So this is innovation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So let's proceed to the second chapter of the course. Let's proceed. And entrepreneurship is the process. Since it is the process, so could you tell me some of the process of entrepreneurship? Entrepreneur is the person. Entrepreneurship is the process. Enterprise is the end results of entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is, since it's the process, so could you tell me one or two processes of entrepreneurship? Anyone?
Can I speak?
Yes, yes.
ያው መጀመሪያው ኢንተርፕረነር ለመሆን ኦፖርቹኒቲዎች ያስፈልጉናል መጀመሪያ አይደል?
Yeah. So the first process is identifying opportunities. So we can identify opportunities within our surroundings. So this is the first step in entrepreneurship, is identifying opportunities. Once we identify this opportunity, we can evaluate this opportunity whether it is feasible or not. So we'll see how can we identify this opportunity and evaluate this opportunity. There are different evaluation criteria. So some of the evaluation criteria is, so we can evaluate the identified opportunity in terms of window opportunity, for how long this business will sustain in the market. That's known as opportunity window identification, or opportunity window. And we can also evaluate the given business opportunity through in terms of reward or in terms of risk. So we have to evaluate in terms of also feasibility, like technical feasibility. We can also evaluate a given business idea in terms of our skill and in terms of our background. So this is some of the process of entrepreneurship. So in this case, in the second chapter of the course, we can also identify business opportunities, and we'll see ways of identifying business opportunity. And how can we evaluate this business opportunity in terms of market, in terms of technical feasibility, in terms of profitability, in terms of reward, or in terms of risk. So this is how can we evaluate, the identified business opportunities, since all business opportunity may not be feasible, all business idea may not be feasible. So in this case, the first step in opportunity identification is, evaluating or scanning our environment. Our environment, it can be external environment or internal environment. So in this case, through environmental scanning, we can get the business idea. Or this stage is known as getting business idea or getting the idea. So in this case, what's opportunity and what's business idea could be differentiated in this chapter. So in this case, simply business opportunity means the gap left in the market, the gap. So entrepreneurs need to fill these gaps. So before we proceed to the business opportunity, so first we have to identify what's a business idea. Business idea or idea means simply the intention, the suggestion, or the proposal, the initiatives, and so on. Or simply the concepts of the issue. Whereas opportunity means simply the chance or the openings of that business or the prospects of that business idea. So the first step in environmental scanning is first you have to generate the business idea and then evaluate this business idea and select the best business idea. This best business idea could be business opportunity. So business opportunities are distinguished from business idea or from the idea. So their difference would be opportunity, the possibility of occupying the market, the possibilities.
ልዩነት መፍጠር ዓላማችን ነው። ዓለም አቀፍ ተወዳዳሪ መሆን አለባችሁ። የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ ጥራትና ደረጃውን የጠበቀ ስልጠና በመስጠት ብቁ ዜጋ እያፈራን ነው። በፍላይት ኦፕሬሽን፣ በበረራ መስተንግዶ፣ በቲኬቲንግና ሪዘርቬሽን፣ በሆቴልና ቱሪዝም ሙያዎች አሰልጥነን ተወዳዳሪ እናደርጉታለን። ኮሌጃችን ካናዳ ከሚገኘው ኢንተርናሽናል ኤር ትራንስፖርት አሶሲዬሽን አያታና ከእንግሊዙ ICM ጋር በመተባበር ዓለም አቀፍ ዕውቅና ያለው ስልጠና እየሰጠ ይገኛል። በፍላይት ኦፕሬሽን በበረራ መስተንግዶ የምንሰጣቸው ስልጠና ከኢትዮጵያ ሲቪል አቪዬሽን ባለስልጣን ሙሉ ዕውቅና አለው። አድራሻ ከጎላጉል ታወር 22 አደባባይ ወደ ሾላ በሚወስደው መንገድ ላይ የናሽናል ኤርዌይስ እህት ኩባንያ ናሽናል አቪዬሽን ኮሌጅ ህልሞን እውን ያደርጋል።